Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Enlightened Path podcast. I'm Patricia Walls, and I'm here with Lisa LightFeather. And we were lucky to catch her because she's on the road, and so we were lucky to catch her. So let me tell you a little bit about her. How long have I known you? Like maybe 3 or 4 years? No, it's been longer than that.
It has, because I had to shop when we met. We met in person, and that was 2017, 2018.
You were on your way to your first trip to Peru.
Oh yeah, that was the end of 2017, 2018. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. So Lisa LightFeather is what is how people are identifying her now. And she's a mother, a grandmother, a plant medicine woman, and a 22-year veteran in the Army. So she brings a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience to us today in a wide variety of areas, because you were a social worker too, right?
Yes. I have a master's degree in social work from the University of Southern California. What was the focus? The focus was mental health. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, and with all of your travels, we sort of live vicariously through you, through all of your travels. Like right now you're traveling north, on this grand journey, just stopping. We were talking before we hit record. So Lisa was sharing that she's just stopping wherever source tells her to stop, go here, go there. And that's the dream of a lot of us, just to be able to go and flow. Flow is important for women. So there's so many subjects that you could share with us today. What do you want to start with?
Well, my favorite topic of all is always going to lead to healing and self-healing and doing it on purpose, And I love what you just said, that flow is important to women. I resonate with that. That just felt right when you said that. But healing is always going to be the top priority and at the forefront of my mind. It's almost like that. That is just simply what I've come back to be about, And so, and I want to say something about healing, that I feel like there's a misconception that all things heal with time, And as I get older and I meet people my age. Well, even within myself, I know that the healing never quite ends. There's always something, and you really don't get to test that theory until you're in the presence of others. You can say you're healed all you want to when you're by yourself.
Till you get triggered.
It's too easy. But when you're with somebody else, that's when you see where you need to do the work still. So it's really quite never ending. But you do evolve. There is progress, and it feels good seeing that progress. But like I said, the misconception is that all things heal with time. I know 60-year-olds who fall out and have temper tantrums like 3-year-olds, and I'm just like, wow, so you can really see it that statement is not true. But so I've spent really my whole life, Patricia, in healing self. I remember being a little girl and holding space for my mother and being about for everybody else. And then the time came through my own healing where Spirit said that I needed to focus on me and be selfish with that. That was a hard thing to digest, because someone who's always of service, they feel guilty for being, let me just say I, not they. I felt guilty for thinking about myself. It was really a process. It was really a hurdle to get over to think about myself. There have been so many ups and downs and roller coasters. If I didn't know better, I would think that that something was going on, that something was wrong, because there's so many ups and downs with the healing process. You're high one minute, you're low the next. This is the thing, and you would be diagnosed. One would be diagnosed with bipolar if they went to
bipolar. Yeah, false diagnosis. Absolutely.
Bipolar, schizophrenia, whatever the case may be. But on this journey, I think the biggest thing that's happened on this healing journey is something that I want to share with us here in the West, because we don't have a lot of information here. It's very common in the East. People know about it in India, and they have resources to assist them along their journey when it comes to this type of healing that I'm about to speak about. But here in the West, we don't have a lot of information. And that's something that's referred to as a Kundalini awakening. Kundalini is, if you're familiar with the 7 chakras, I know you are, but if your audience is familiar with that, we have chakras all over our body, but there's 7 primary chakras, right? That run up the line of the spine. Kundalini means she that is coiled. Kundalini is the energy that lies coiled in the root chakra. And when the root chakra is activated in a certain manner, it can awaken Kundalini. Now, this activation can happen in many ways. It can happen through spiritual practices such as yoga and meditation. I've been meditating since 2015. So I think it originally activated there, but it kind of catapulted its way when I started sitting with the plants, right? So it can be activated through Kundalini, through yoga, through meditation. It can also be activated through trauma, such as a car wreck or sometimes even a traumatic childbirth. It can be activated through life changes, situations such as menopause. Every woman goes through a form of Kundalini awakening. And so when they get through that part of their life and people start saying, you're crazy, something's wrong with you, and the woman feels that way as well, she's going through a certain level of Kundalini awakening. I'm not saying it's a full Kundalini awakening, but there's a certain level of it. So in 2018, my Kundalini was activated. It was activated by a drum, believe it or not, just the boom, boom, boom. I was out at Blackland Ranch, and I was there, and participating in a healing ceremony, and my Kundalini was awakened. And this was a strange thing, because I was normally very quiet. Like you wouldn't hear a word from me. I would just be there and listen to what was going on in the ceremony, or listen to what was being said to me, but I never said anything. When that Kundalini awakening happened, I sat up, stood up. I was like in the room, my presence was very well known. And I was just like, what is going on here? But it felt like, if I can describe it from my perspective, it felt like a full body orgasm that I had no control over, that ended in a migraine headache. Now, mind you, I'm in a room full of 22 and 23-year-olds, and I'm very modest in that area of my life. And so I was completely just like totally embarrassed, but I had no control over it. Another strange thing that happened during that period, I'm not sure if your audience is familiar with the goddess Kali Ma, but Kali Ma, she's a Hindu goddess. If you look at her picture, she comes across as she's very scary. But if you do the research on Kali Ma is just a protector, yeah? So during that awakening, Kali Ma was dancing next to me. And it sounded like how a rattlesnake, it sounded like that. And I was just like, what is going on? Well, see, the person that I was working with, he looked at me, he said, Lisa, you've had a Kundalini awakening. Now, mind you, I research everything. I left there, never looked up the meaning of it, never researched it. Went straight to my shop, sold it. Mind you, all the money that I had went into that shop at the time. Went straight to my shop, sold it, moved all the stuff out of my apartment, packed up all my stuff, and went to Peru. It was almost like I was on autopilot, like something else was in charge. And that something else was in charge until September 2023, until recently. So I was functioning and I could feel it. I felt it go up and come back down. I could feel it in my solar plexus. It felt like I had a knot in my stomach, and it was always there. It was very, it was always there. So I kind of got used to it, but I could feel that it stopped in my solar plexus. And I kind of was functioning from that space, from the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus up until September 2023. Well, something occurred to where somebody I love dearly went through a traumatic event. And I truly believe that this person went through this event for me. For their evolving, of course, but they went through it for me because their spirit knew that it would break my heart. And when it cracked my heart open, I do what I always do when my heart is broke. I get on a plane and I go away, right? That's my medicine. And then I experienced something in Peru called San Pedro. And then that went all the way through the heart, right? September, someone played the heart chakra bowl, and then that did it. So the Kundalini kind of broke through my heart. Now, I want to share something with that, if that's okay. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. Somebody needs to hear it. So go ahead and share it. Yeah.
Thank you. So once I didn't realize what was happening to my heart at the time. And so that's when I moved, I packed all my stuff in September, October it was, right? Yeah, in October, I packed all my stuff and I moved to Peru. I literally went there to live amongst the people and to just live a normal life. I did not go there for any type of work. I went there intentionally to see this land, to see Machu Picchu, to see Rainbow Mountain, to go see the condor in person. It was so important to me to see this beautiful bird, the condor, to actually see it with my own eyes. I had to. Mm-hmm. And I hiked the highest mountains to go see this bird. And after I got finished doing all that, I went back to Lima and I got me an Airbnb for 90 days and I just stayed there. Now, I don't speak the language. I was practicing, but you know. And I just stayed there. One day I was asleep. When I woke up, I couldn't move. I was completely and totally paralyzed. My chest and the center of my back and the center of my chest and my left shoulder, there was extreme pain. I couldn't take a deep breath. I couldn't breathe. I was just like, and I thought I could think, and I was thinking, oh my God, I'm here in Peru. I don't speak the language and I'm having a heart attack. And it was probably it probably only lasted a couple of minutes, maybe a couple of seconds, but when you're that afraid, it seemed like it lasted forever, you know?
Yeah.
And so it felt like a big bubble was trying to push its way through my heart. Well, when it finally subsided, I was able to take a deep breath. And I was like, well, there's nothing I can do here. I'm certainly not going to the doctor here. They diagnosed me with something. I'm gonna wait till I get back home and go see my doctor. But after that happened, certain symptoms kicked in. Symptoms such as fear, anxiety. My hands began to vibrate so hard that I just wanted to take like a bristle brush and just scratch them, but that just made it worse. My feet started to vibrate. My scalp was vibrating so much that I couldn't sleep. I started having symptoms of the fear, the anxiety, the crying, the panic attacks. Like I didn't even want to take my trash out, you know, and I'm very accustomed to being abroad. So I wasn't afraid of that, but all of a sudden I didn't want to do any of those things. And then I would have symptoms such as a really sore throat. You know, usually when you get a sore throat, that's a sign that your body's warning you that you are about to get sick. It's trying to catch whatever virus or whatever you've inhaled. But I would have a sore throat and no other symptoms. I would see like strobe lights out of the side. I still see that. I would see like strobe lights, like in my peripheral vision to be like, you know, and you can actually feel, you can feel the blood running through your veins. You can feel your heart pumping. You can feel your lungs working. It's like you're so in tune with every little thing around you. Like, even if I'm sitting here in this Airbnb, I can hear the phone humming, I can hear the air conditioner, and I can hear the light bulb in the lamp. It's just wild. Your hearing gets really, really, really focused, and your vision gets focused. Like, I would catch myself reading, like I wear reading glasses. I'd catch myself reading something with no glasses, you know, and I'd been reading it for a minute. I'm like, how am I seeing this? You know? And so the vision got really clear. And then the tingling of the face, in insomnia, you couldn't sleep. You just couldn't sleep. I started taking something called ashwagandha to assist me in getting some rest, you know, but these were some of the symptoms that occurred. And as I was going through this, I was like, what is happening to me? I didn't know what was happening. And I got the clearest download. I was like, the spirit said Kundalini. And I said, what? That happened in 2018. What does it do? What do you mean Kundalini? That's already over with. Remember, I didn't study it.
It started in 2018. Yeah. Yeah.
Spirit said, you're on the tail end of this, honey. And I was like, what? So this has been Kundalini the whole time? You know? And so it has been Kundalini the whole time. And so I look back over in 2018 up until this point of all the things that have occurred in my behavior. My behavior was so erratic. And I'm like, did anybody not see me? Did anybody not say, hey, Lisa, are you okay? Did anybody not see me? Like, I certainly couldn't see me. I was just on a mission. I didn't know something else was in charge. But no one ever stopped and said, Lisa, are you okay? Everybody was like, I love your journey. Go, girl, go. Yes. And I was just like in the eye of a storm. But it was interesting to me that I never questioned it. I never once questioned it. It was just heading out straight forward. And so at this point, and I want to share this with people, because if you go through this, you will likely feel like you're losing your mind, because Kundalini awakening is not linear. It doesn't go from the root and then up to, although I did have a bottom-up experience, right? And some people have a top-down experience. I had a bottom-up experience. It's not linear, although it opens up linear. Once she's free, she goes where she wants to go. So one day you might be like, oh my God, this is all love, this is all light. And the next day you might be like, oh, I can't take it anymore. You know, it's just, you just kind of have to flow. You really do. You have to flow. You're like, okay, where's she at right now? Is she in the root chakra, or is she in the heart chakra? Where is she? You know, I don't believe that it has come through the crown, not completely. I did get a download the other day that said, I know this is cliche, but it said that it would open with another, meaning a connection with another, you know, someone who is possibly on the same, not necessarily the same journey, but someone who has the potential, the spiritual potential to catapult that. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, because I mean, there's the polarity, there's the masculine and feminine, whether it's, you know, it's a masculine and feminine energy, right? Doesn't have to be male, female. It's a masculine and feminine energy, yes. Right?
Yeah.
And it has to work together. I mean, we are sovereign beings, that is true, but we have both masculine and feminine. And sometimes it takes the other to activate the one. So it makes sense. Yeah. Yes.
And I'm not really looking forward to that, to the crown, like, because I don't know what all that entails. The thought of being completely enlightened is like, no, thank you, I'll pass. But yeah, so I don't know what that entails, but I did want to share with people about this Kundalini awakening. And I also have, if I can put a shameless plug in there real fast, that's okay. Yeah. So I a YouTube channel called Closing the Gap, where I decided to, because there was so much going on inside me, I needed a place to release it that wasn't social media per se. And so I started a YouTube channel, and I speak about Kundalini and the symptoms there. I start off speaking about each individual chakra and explaining those things, just the basics of the energetic body. But I wanted to share that process because, like I said, here in the West, we have no place to look. You know, we don't have anybody that looks like us, an everyday person that's doing everyday stuff, that can say, hey, that happened to me. And I'm convinced that a lot of people have had this awakening, they just don't know what's going on.
Well, some of them get diagnosed with schizophrenia, you know, with bipolar, with whatever, and they get institutionalized. I mean, this has been happening. And early you were talking about woman, you know, that women are, we were talking about flowing, you know, and women were programmed not to flow, right? Women were programmed to be submissive and to be controlled, and that doesn't allow flow, right? In the military, you were taught discipline, sister, which is a man's way. Discipline is men's ways, right? Because that was a program of submersion, submissiveness, right? To be under the control of another being, to be told how you should think, how you should feel. And we're coming out of that. And that's the reason why I'm inviting all of these relatives to come and share, because everybody has this. I have gotten so much feedback from people about different interviews. It's like, oh my God, I listened to this interview and it just clicked and everything made sense, you know? So I can only imagine how many people are going to listen to this interview and go, oh my God, I've been feeling that, you know, and now I know what to expect, or I at least have some kind of template for what it may look like, you know. So plugs, people need to be able to get in touch with you, you know, or they need to be able to see, like, I'm going to add a link for Closing the Gap YouTube, right? People need to know how, and I know that you're on this journey, and you may not, and just for anybody listening, she may or may not answer you, you know, because she's on this journey, but she will at some point answer you. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's important. Yeah. And what you're doing is important, Patricia. You've always done amazing work, and I've always admired you and watched you from a distance. And I was just like, wow, so powerful, you know, and you have been a very important part of my journey. You have, and I'm going to try not to cry here, because I've never
don't cry. You're going to make me cry.
I can't do that, right? Yeah, we're live, or we're recording. And so, but you have been such an important part of my journey, and through it all, the ups and downs, the good and the bad, I've heard you, but I've never heard you in the heart of being, what's the word I'm looking for? Deep down, you've always been for me. You've always been, deep down, you've always been cheering for me. And I always felt that. Now, I know people get around you and there's conversations and stuff like that, but deep down, where it really matters, in the heart of hearts, you have always been rooting for me. And I want you to know that I've always felt that. I've always felt it. And I know I haven't been easy, but I've always felt you, and I appreciate you. Yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Well, I appreciate you, and because, so some people think it's just me and I'm on my journey. Okay. We're going to use you as an example. You mentioned that it was time for you to focus on you, right? And so you went on this journey. You've been on this journey since 2018, 2017, and they're telling me long before that, right? So you've been on this journey, and while in the third dimensional reality, it looks as though you are on this journey, you are not on this journey by yourself, right? Because we are all connected, all of us. And one of the things that I tell people is I have no judgments. I really don't have judgments. I have observations, right? And there are times when I'll say, this person is doing this, and I know it serves a purpose for them. It's not a judgment, it's an observation, right? And it's an acknowledgement that they are on their journey. And while it may not look like my journey would look if I could design my journey, but hello, we can't design our journeys. We are not in charge, right? And so there's that little egoic part of human beings that was an implant, by the way, to keep us separated from each other, where we look at somebody else and go, well, I wouldn't have made that choice. Well, that is not true, because the egoic part of us may not have made that choice, but we're going to experience what we agreed to experience, no matter what it looks like. And all we can do is just go through it, move through it, because whatever we're experiencing, it's not just for us. It is not just for us. It's not just our experience. We're experiencing for the collective, Every time you mention that with your friend that went through, your relative that went through this traumatic event, and you said you felt it was for you, partially for you. It was partially for you, right? Because their experience affected you. Their experience changed you. And so all the times that we watch, even, television, movies, whatever, and we get triggered with our empathy or with our anger or our indignation, right? Because this person went through this, and we're like, what? And I love the F word. So what the fuck, right? Why did they have to go through that? Why did they have to suffer in that way? Well, because their suffering affected me in a particular way. It triggered something in me in a particular way, either to have empathy, either to look at my own harshness, or to look at my own anger and resentment and deal with it. But you are not on this journey by yourself. And we are eternally grateful for this journey that you've been on, because through that, we're learning, right? We're experiencing with you. So there's no judgment in me. There's awareness in me. And the human part of me may go, why did she do that? Why did she make that choice? Oh, my goodness. But it's an awareness that makes me look. It's a mirror that makes me go, well, why did I say that? Why do I feel that way? What part of me aligns with that? And thank you. That's the end result. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
so,
we do mirror each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for being on that journey.
No, thank you.
Even through the hard times that you have experienced, thank you for experiencing that, for the collective, so that we can all heal. I won't say benefit. Well, healing is a benefit, isn't it? So that we can all benefit.
I don't know how much time we have left, but I wanted to.
We have as much time as we need.
Okay. I wanted to speak about when this energy breaks through the middle path, right? Then because you have the lower energies, which are these 3D things, these survival things. Then you have the upper energies, or the things of spirit. There's a point where I've realized that now I have to integrate those two, And so that's where I am right now. I keep being pulled to yoga. I've never really been, I've always admired people who did yoga, but I've never really partaken in that to any extent. but I keep being drawn to it like in a powerful way, you know, like this is going to be something that's really going to change you. It's really going to help you to integrate. Because I was speaking to someone and they said, now that you've come to this portion, what's happened is you need to bring the spirit man back into the physical man, you know, because I've been up in the spiritual realm for so long, and then coming back, the heart opening and coming back down to the 3D realm in a sense, because it's kind of like brought me.
Is there something called heart yoga?
I haven't heard of heart yoga. I've heard of karmic yoga, Kundalini yoga. I haven't heard of heart yoga, but there probably is.
Well, maybe that's something that you need to develop.
Yeah, maybe. First, I got to be able to touch my toes. Sorry.
Have you never seen pictures of the true goddess? I doubt that she could touch your toes. Okay.
I'm just being funny. I that's another thing that's happened. I've gotten very witty. Anyways, so I think that that yoga is a thing. And so when I came back down here, Spirit told me in September that I was to stay away from ceremonies. I was to stay away from medicine. I was to stay away from everything for a year. And so September fall equinox will be a year that I've held space for others. So during this year, what I've been focusing on is the physical body. Because when you're in that spiritual realm, the physical body really does take a hit. It's hard to I think I'm at a phase where walking in both worlds is literal. It's becoming literal. You can say that when you're in the spiritual realm, you're like, oh yeah, I walk in both worlds. No, you're just functioning in the 3D realm. You're not really walking in it. You're just functioning in it. You really stay up in the spiritual realm. And so in staying up in the spiritual realm too much, I mean, we like to use the term walking in both worlds, but I'm finding that that's not really the case. We're either one or the other. You know what I mean? And I'm at that phase where I just something that's the inner knowing that's letting me know that I'm really learning how to walk in both worlds simultaneously. And that's what this integration is about, because you have to take care of the physical. The physical isn't well. What good are you? Somebody made a post that really touched my heart. They said, most healers are sick, or something to the effect of, most healers are sicker than the people that they're healing, you know? And I had a really good, he wasn't really necessarily a friend, I never met him in person, but he was a Facebook friend that I followed, and he was a powerful healer. He just transitioned the other day, you know? And from what? A heart attack. So a lot of times healers just give. I mean, this stuff can literally break your heart if you don't learn how to walk in both worlds. I can't just be in the spirit realm. I can't just be being of service. I have to be in the gym as well. Or I have to be out in nature walking as well. Or I have to be doing yoga as well. I have to be eating right as well, taking care of my teeth and my skin as well. I can't just be over here because it's beautiful over there. You want to stay there forever because nothing here matters. And that's a beautiful place to be. But we have to remember that we signed up to be human beings in this 3D realm. And so we got to come back and we got to integrate. Healers who do not integrate, in my opinion, are dangerous. We have to stop and integrate and take care of ourselves. The whole saying, you can't pull from an empty cup, it's factual. You know, you just keep pouring and pouring and pouring water. And then one day you look in the mirror and you're like, my physical is falling apart. And it's heartbreaking because you see these people doing the work and they're beautiful souls and they're doing what they've come back to do. But I just want all of us who are on this journey to stop and take care of ourselves. Be selfish in your own healing. Because people will take and take and take and take and take. and they don't mean no harm. They're taking because you're open to it.
Yeah.
But they will take from you until you have nothing else to give. Another thing with this Kundalini awakening is that people are they're either really, really drawn to me or they're repelled by me. You know, it's like they either just really, and the ones that are really, really drawn, they want everything they can get from me. They want to pick my brain. It's like most women get chased after what's between their legs. I get chased after what's between my ears. And I'm just like, they want everything that I have in here. They want me to just give it to them, you know? And it's very draining. It's very draining. And so we have to take care of ourselves, protect ourselves, learn how to do it. I'm in the process of learning this, you know, so I can't really give a whole lot of tips on that. Like I said, I've been being pulled to yoga, but we really do have to learn this. And this is where I'm at right now, is learning that part. Like, how do I protect myself? How do I protect the work that I've already done? You know? So as healers, space holders, people who help others, however you want to refer to yourself, it is vital that we stop, we integrate, and that we take care of ourselves. The people will still be there when you get back. The people that are meant to cross paths with you will still be there when you get back. We stand there in the fear that, oh my God, I'm going to be forgotten. My calling is going to go down the drain. No, it's not. No, it's not. Take care of yourself. Listen to spirit. Follow the guidance. Let your ego go. Relax. And when you come back, the people that are supposed to be in alignment with you will be there. And that's where I'm at too. I don't want anybody in my presence that's not in alignment with me. It started off, I just want to heal everybody. Everybody come, everybody come. I don't want that anymore. If you're not in alignment with me, don't come to me. Oh, but I'm hurting. I wouldn't give a, okay, good for you. Go find somebody else that you're in alignment with. But if you're not in alignment with me, and then I don't want to, I'm tired of now this people won't understand because, or people won't understand because it's things that happen in the spirit realm. I'm tired of the battles. You know, there's battles that go on. And this is gonna make me sound like I need to be in the hospital, but there's battles that go on energetically, spiritually, on a regular basis. I'm tired of them. Stop coming to me with that, because I've been in these battles for so long, and as I was going through the lower three chakras, I was there for it. Well, I was taking that sword out and chopping off heads left and right. Let's go, you know. But as the heart opened, Spirit said, keep your sword, but walk gingerly. And so that's where I am. I keep my sword, but I'm trying to learn how to walk gingerly. Every once in a while, I'll get my buttons pushed, like I'll feel somebody pulling on me or doing some type of energetic stuff, and I just, you know. But I'm trying to get to the point where there's a balance there. And this is not easy work. So for those who judge it,
yeah,
you can't. It's not easy work. It's not easy, you know. It's just not easy. And so that's where I am on this journey. I'm finding that balance, learning to walk gingerly with my sword, learning to take care of myself and put myself first so that I can be better for the people who are in alignment with me when I come back.
Yeah. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's the reason why I stopped doing the women's retreats. Well, the ones that I was doing, right? I did women's retreats for like, I don't know, I say 20 years, but I don't live in a time, you know, my time is always off. But the women's retreats became healing retreats, right? So women would show up that were wounded. There was a great service that was done, right? Women would show up and that were wounded, and they would, bring all of their woundedness. And so one of my sisters kind of dubbed it the snot purge and puke fest, right? Because there was all this healing that took place, and it wasn't pretty all the time. And I got tired of that. I got tired of it because I felt as though, okay, my service is done there. And one of the things that they wanted me to remind you of is the theory of the hollow bone, sister, right? And something that I tell people all the time is I won't say it's always been this way, but pretty much this is the way that I operate, is that I never use my own energy. When I'm doing work anywhere, I never use my own energy. I'm using source energy. I'm not using other people's energy, because that shit is distorted, right? Why would I use someone else's energy? But it's source energy. And so as the hollow bone, you are simply channeling whatever someone needs. You're not in charge of it. Therefore, you're not using your own energy. Therefore, you don't get depleted. You don't get sick. You're not affected by what everybody else is carrying, what of the distortions they're carrying. There was a time when my grandchildren were small, when they were sick, or the parents, were sick or whatever, they would bring them to my house. All 6 of these babies came to my house. If they were sick, by the time they left, grandma was on the sofa for 3 days, okay? Because I had taken on all their stuff. They went home just fine. They went home happy and healthy, but I was sick. And I think that was my training ground, right? And so I don't do that anymore. I don't use my own energy. I don't take on other people's stuff. We were taught in the way of shamanism, or in the way of indigenous teachings, we were taught to take other people's sickness. And this is the old distorted fallen teachings. They're saying fallen teachings. We were taught to take on other people's illness and so that they would be healthy. And then at some point, Source started talking to me about, yes, that's the old way. The old way is to take on someone else's illness, but they forgot to teach you how to transmute it, right? And so then they started talking to me about it's okay to take on someone else's illness if they're willing to give it up. There's the law of free will, but you transmute it and you release it. You don't hold it. Then they came in and said, okay, now I think you're ready to hear the truth. And the truth is, if you're a hollow bone, you're not taking anybody's anything. Okay. You are, it's just a constant flush, a constant tube. And so I've seen all of those, and they call them wounded healers, right? I've seen all of those wounded healers out there. I've seen healers, amazing healers, who are either severely obese because they know that they need protection. And so they're building protection around themselves, right? They're building that barrier, physically building that barrier to protect themselves. And then I've seen wounded healers who are crippled, with arthritis or illnesses, their hearts. One of my very, very dear elders died from a heart attack, and he knew what was happening. He said that his heart was broken, that his heart had been broken so many times that it just wasn't healable, right? And that's how he died, because his heart had been broken so many times. And so, and you mentioned that, right? So I think for us, the teaching is, the learning is to learn how to return to being a hollow bone where we're not affected by, we don't need protection. I mean, there are times, and you know, the human part of me, there are times when I will call in Archangel Michael to clear my house, to clear me, to clear everything inside of it from all cords, all hooks, all, you know, curses and hexes, whatever. And there are times when I tell people to say shields up, mirrors out, in order to reflect or deflect other people's energies. So in some ways, it's common sense that you need a form of protection. You need a reminder that you're not taking on other people's energies. But we don't need to build these barriers of, you know, we don't need to build the physical barriers. We just need to return to the knowledge that, number one, we're sovereign beings, right? Nothing can harm us that we haven't given it permission to harm us through an agreement to experience. But we have to return to those teachings, and I really feel strongly. So there's a being somewhere in this room that keeps making noise, and it's not physical. Anyway, so I was looking for Jet because I thought Jet was here, but he's not. Anyway, I think that strongly that this journey that you have been on is benefiting all of us in the way that you are experiencing this opening. You're getting, and while people experience this opening without understanding, right? You're being given the teachings as you experience it. You're being given the understanding so that you can share with all of us, and so that the experience can help others to have awareness and understanding about what's going on with them. So your experience is very important to all of us. And I thank you for that. And I really hope that you are going to write that you're going to document that process.
I am currently in the process of writing a book, and the name of the book is Closing the Gap, and it's closing the gap between the eagle and the condor. I'm currently, I have this hold up where if I haven't experienced it, I don't want to write about it. And I'm on a section when it comes to Sundance. And I was supposed to go to Sundance last month, but my turkey trip took precedence over that. And so maybe next year I'll be able to go to Sundance, but I need to get over this hurdle of feeling like I have to experience, I have to have done it before I can write about it, you know, because there's so much information out there. And then plus I know people personally who she just got finished Sundancing 2 days ago. And so I had people who are doing that. I can interview people, but I am currently in the process of writing a book about the indigenous healings of North and South America, and standing in that gap. You know, when you speak about the hollow bone, it's definitely a synchronicity. Kwame Sunhorse was speaking to me about that the other day, and he was basically referring to that he was basically saying the same exact thing that you just said. You know, that, and he didn't say this, but I can relate that back to Kundalini, that it is hollowing those blocks, that ego and all those other things. And like you said, taking on the pain of others, taking on the healing of others. I was healing this woman, I was holding space for this woman one time, and she had stuff trapped in her uterus. And my uterus, now I'm completely healthy, but my uterus felt like it had a Charlie horse in it. It just knotted up. And that's when I really realized that we literally, when we take that pain away from them, or when spirit takes that pain away from them, however it happens, I can't explain it, but you have something to do with it, right? It transfers from them to you. And so we do have to learn how to transmute it. That in itself is a task. But when you become the hollow bone, which I'm looking forward to, I think that's what's happening right now. Like you said, you don't hold on to anything. It just channels through you. And it just resonates with me with you saying that. I think that's where this is heading. I really believe that that's where this is heading. This is the reason that I'm having to go through this, because I have to get there, and so that's part of that hollow bone journey.
because you made the statement a few seconds ago, you can't write about something you haven't experienced. You're welcome. Sources going, okay, you can't write about it until you experience it. Let's do this.
And there you go. Yeah, Kundalini, it's like I'm trying to figure out where to put that in the book, because it's like you have North and South, but it's in there. I have it in there. But yeah. And it's coming along pretty good. I'm going to reach back out to you at some point on how to make it really happen, because although I'm doing it, I don't know where to go after that without taking the risk of investing in something that's not real. There's all types of things out there. Yeah, publish your book here, do this there. But how do I know that's real? I know that you are an author and you published so many books, and you actually been my motivation, to be honest. And I was like, God, Patricia.
Yeah, there is so much out there. And so there are publishers. We're just going to hit on this for a second for anybody who needs to know it. So there are publishers out there, where you submit your books, Hayes. There are just all of these publishers that are out there that you can submit your book to, and depends on how you want to go. So if they like your book, they feel that it would, and it has to be profitable for them, right? So if they feel that your book is going to be profitable for them, then yes, they basically take you under their wing, and they will give you a bonus, for signing on. They send you on all of these book signing tours, so, and they help you with all of this advertisement. It's not cheap, and it doesn't come cheap. So it depends on where a person is in their third dimensional reality, right? So for me, going on book tours was not an option. And for me, paying a publisher up front was not an option for me. So what I did was I go through Amazon. Amazon doesn't charge you 1 penny to publish a book.
Wow.
Not 1 penny. So every book that Amazon sells for you, they take a percentage, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a percentage for printing the book. Mm-hmm. So if a book cost $44, your royalty may be $16 or $18, right? Mm-hmm. But for some people, that is a viable option. For me, it was an option. The downfall of that is that I don't have anyone promoting me but me. So, the book is only seen and noticed and bought if I push it.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Yeah. And so there's so many platforms now. And it's almost like in writing a book that it's not even like the profit of it hasn't even crossed my mind, not because it doesn't matter, but because I really just want to have something. And the way I stay focused on the book, when I do focus on it, is that I remind myself that I'm writing it for my grandchildren. And it takes the pressure off of me thinking that the world's going to look at it and analyze it and auto-correct it and blah, 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 and say, this is wrong, that's wrong. Oh, no, she knows nothing about that. I'm writing it for my grandchildren. And that way it flows from a organic space.
Right.
And so it wasn't the profit that I was thinking about as much as not being taken advantage of in the attempt of trying to publish it.
Okay, so Yeah. So if I can break in here. So my first book was for my grandchildren.
Mm.
I invested. So when I say Amazon doesn't charge you, there are other investments that you make, right? I had to pay someone to format the book. I had to pay someone to create the cover for the book.
That part, yes.
Okay. So there were financial investments, and I had to pay to purchase copies that I sold in person. So there are investments, there's still investments that you make in this venture. And it's nice to receive a return on that. So it's not so much about making money, although at my age, an additional income is nice. Okay. I would like, and there's the issue, not issue. There's the aspect of being reimbursed for your energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Reciprocity for sure. That's right. Another big thing. So,
yeah. So there's the old teaching, indigenous way, that, and not even just indigenous, but there's what we call the vow of poverty. You remember that one, right? The vow of poverty, where you give away everything and you're not reimbursed for any of it. That sets up a karmic debt.
Ooh, that part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you are working on people, I would say for free, right? We're just going to put the money aspect in there. When you're working on people for free, you are causing them to be indebted to you karmically. That is not a nice thing to do to somebody.
And I don't like the way that sounds.
Right. And so there's that old distorted program since the beginning of time that healers can't charge for their services, that they have to do it for free. So you have throughout all of time and space, every time that you've been a healer in any of your life experiences, you have all these people who are indebted to you, all of these karmic debts. Not a good thing. No. And then there is so they're talking, I've got like 20 million people talking to me right now.
I can see it. I'm just like looking behind you, like, what in the world's going on?
Yeah. I've just got all these voices coming in at one time. So they also want to remind people that it is important for us to have an exchange of energy, right? And so there are these people, and we've been programmed to think that this is our service to humanity. That's how they're putting it. This is our service to humanity, to share our knowledge, share our experience, share our adventure that we've been on, and we shouldn't expect anything in return for it. That is another karmic debt that we're setting up. Mm-hmm. And so there really does need to be an exchange of energies. So I have come to the conclusion of, I am grateful for any prosperity that's sent my way. I am grateful for any exchange of energies that's sent my way, for the knowledge and experience. I mean, some people can write a book in 3 days. It happens, right? People can write a book I can't, but people can write a book in 3 days. So it may take me 6 months, a year, I don't know, to write a book, to write down everything and I'm channeling, or we, not just me, we're channeling this information. Mm-hmm. But it takes energy, takes time, it takes experience, it takes learning to listen for me to be able to write this down and share it with other people. Mm-hmm. So I am willing and open to be able to be reimbursed for that time that I've taken, the experience that I've done. I think that we should be reimbursed for that. Absolutely. Because the things in our environment, in our third dimensional reality at this point in time, cost green money, gold or silver, right? And I could set myself up as I don't know even what they've got so many names for it, but where I'm willing to live in poverty so that everybody else can gain this information. That's not being kind to me. That's not me honoring myself and being kind to me. And so I encourage you and anybody else out there to give away that feeling of, I'm just going to write this book and put it out there. I don't expect anything in return, because you have been working your butt off, spending money to travel. I mean, you've paid for these experiences. These experiences have cost you money, time, and energy and pain. Yes. Okay. And you should be reimbursed for that.
I thank you for that, Patricia. I appreciate that. You're completely right. And so I'll change that perspective. You know, I kind of went into it thinking, well, whatever happens, happens. I just want it to be, you know, keep it for my grandbabies and blah, blah. But everything you're saying is completely, it's accurate. It's right. It's right. You know, reciprocity is so important. And I've learned that in not receiving reciprocity, that it's a form of self-harm. You're
denying your worth. You're saying, yeah, I don't deserve that. I'm not worthy of that, you know.
Yes, yeah. It's a form of self-harm. It's like, and yeah, you are so right. And I remember the first time I charged for what I felt like I was worth. It was so hard. But I had vowed to myself that from here on out, I will charge what I'm worth. I will do that. The first time I did it, it was really a difficult process, you know. So, but yeah, reciprocity is important for sure. Yeah,
and it also. So speaking of that, you know, there are people like when I was doing the retreats and for the light language immersion, right? I have a set price that Source told me. This is what you should charge, right? Mm-hmm. And I have had people say, oh, I don't know if I can afford that, right? And I'm like, okay, let me know when, you know, got a payment plan. But, you know, but if you look on the World Wide Web, there are people charging. So for instance, my light language immersion weekend is $444. There are people charging $4,444.
That part. Yes, that
for
part.
A weekend event, and they get that money. People sign up for those events.
Yeah.
So what I have learned is that people will pay for what they want to experience, right? So and I'm a prime example. Someone will send me information about and I'm always learning. I'm always taking courses on writing, on marketing, on whatever. And people, you know, a course will come across my peripheral and I'll look at it and go, yeah, we'll say just a course for $50, right? And I'll look at that course and go, I don't want to spend $50 right now, right? And then a course will come through for $3,000 and I'll go, yeah, I want to go to that one.
Yeah. I'll tell you something else that happened. Like I had this at one point. I was doing once a year. I would do like hold space for people for absolutely just reciprocity. Like they could bring a feather, they could bring a crystal, just, you know, that type of, just so there was reciprocity there.
Uh-huh.
And that it would be packed out. Everybody would show up. And then when I would charge, those same people, none of them came back around to like pay the price to sit. Now, you know, it was like, and the only time they show up is that once a year when I was doing it for free, you know, or doing it for, you know, whatever. But people will really show you who they are on this journey.
And what they think your value is. Okay.
Through them
So
too.
one of, yeah. So there is the teaching of people how does it go? So those people who attended for free, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does the saying go? People value what they have to pay for. That's how it goes. People value for what they have to pay for. And so those people, and I've experienced this, those people who pay $30 for something, you discount it for them. It's called a discount, right? And there is an energy to the word discount.
Mm.
So whenever someone in the past, someone would say, well, I don't have $444. And I would say, okay, well, I can offer you a sister discount, right? Or a family discount. And so I would discount the price for them. And what I was doing was discounting the experience.
Because they really don't appreciate it when they don't. Right. There's no reciprocity. They don't appreciate it. It was like, okay, we're gonna do this for the weekend. Listen, this is my annual give back to the community. But the only thing is, you have to stay here in this space. You can't be coming in and out, going home, arguing with your husband and coming back home, beating the kids and coming back to the ceremony. You got to stay here. Every one of them got up and left, and then came back that evening. I was like, just absolutely no respect, no discipline. Didn't honor it at all because they didn't have to pay for it.
Exactly. They had no investment.
I followed through. They had no investment. I followed through on my part because that's what I said I was going to do. But after that, never offered it again. It was just complete and total disrespect. Because
they had no investment. They didn't have to give anything for that experience.
Yeah.
Now, if they had paid for the experience, they would expect the full package, right?
Yeah.
They had to pay for that. They want value for their money.
Yeah.
And so they were going to be there. They were going to be present,
Yes.
It's just human nature. It's just the way that we're not built, the way that we were programmed to expect value for money.
You're right. It's just human nature. That doesn't make them bad people. It's human nature. It's me. It was my fault. I had to learn that. But you're right. It didn't make them bad people, but the disrespect, it sure made me not do it again. Like I never offered again. Yeah.
But there's the old saying about there's the polarity between empowerment and disempowerment, right? Mm-hmm. And we do it all the time. I mean, we as a race do it all the time. We disempower people by not making them responsible for their own healing, right?
Accountable. Yeah. Yeah.
But we do it out of love. I mean, it's not egoic. So for some people it's egoic, but for most that I know, it's not. But we do it out of love, out of empathy, because we want so badly for people to heal. We want them to get it. We want them to finally just fucking get it, And so we're willing to give all of ourselves in order for them to do that. But it's unfortunate that some of them can't value it because they haven't paid for it.
No.
And it's so hard. And I'm guilty of it. It has been in the past. It has been hard for me to receive, and women especially. Okay. It's hard for us to receive because we're programmed to give. We're programmed to be the birthers, for goodness sakes, right? We were programmed that our only benefit was to birth humanity. I mean, the only benefit of our existence was to birth humanity and to nurture humanity. That's what we were here for. And we still carry that, right? And so it is hard for a lot of women to receive recognition, to receive love, to receive respect. right? It's hard for us. And so I think it's the same whenever we're doing these events and we allow people to come who don't pay because they haven't paid for it. They can't receive it. They can't receive the healing. It's just all not
Going
plastic. It's what?
Going through the motions. They're just
Yeah,
there.
it's just they're just there. They're there, but they're not truly getting it because they can't allow themselves to receive it.
Or they're there for what we refer to as the mystical experience, but they're not really there to heal.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they haven't paid for it. I mean, and I understand it doesn't have to be green money. It could be, there's an energy exchange too, right? So I'm not saying don't let anyone come to an event, and I'm talking to anybody listening to this, right? I'm not saying don't allow anybody to come to your event that's not paid green money for it, but there has to be some exchange.
Reciprocity.
It could be energy. Yeah, it could be an energy exchange, but there has to be some kind of exchange.
Yeah. Ooh, what a
Either
journey.
that or they're just bodies at your event. You know, they're just bodies making you look like you got a lot of people there. But there's no benefit.
There's no benefit. Yeah. So all this is hard work for sure, and becoming the hollow bone is certainly, it has to make it easier, Yeah, I did want to share with you also, real quick, a little off subject, but it's not. That's also through the Kundalini awakening, going through the throat chakra, my light language came through. After all this time, I was wondering, where was it? I was like, everybody has a light language. What is this weirdness? Why don't I have one? And then all of a sudden came through. So that's been one of the other benefits. And I'll tell you, I don't use it often, but when I do, I feel so, I was going to use the word light, but that's what I feel. I feel so, well, that's the word, light. Like I just feel connected, And so, yeah, my light language finally came through, which was very interesting to me. And so for some reason, before I had the light language, I didn't quite believe in it. Like I was like, these people are just doing this on purpose, but now I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a perfect example of being the hollow bone. Okay. So when a person is truly doing, I mean, there are fakers out there. Yes, they are. But when you're truly doing light language, you are the hollow bone. And so you just said that when you're truly doing light language, you feel light because you are not in charge. Your ego is not in charge. Your physical beingness is not in charge. And so you feel that light coming through. You feel being free,
Connected. You really do feel a powerful difference. I'm like, wow, this is, and I still don't quite, I need to come to one of your events because I still don't quite understand it. It's like, it still hasn't quite, I still don't quite understand it. So it's like, I should come to one of your light language events so that I can be more educated on the topic, because I can feel that it's a powerful thing. And like I said before, I was like, oh, that's just how, same thing what people do in church. They're just kind of faking that thing, And then when it happened to me, I was like, whoa, this is real,
Yeah, you definitely know when you're not faking it because you're not in charge.
Yeah.
But there's no end to the understanding about light language. I mean, I just sent that book off to the formatter, right? I finished the manuscript. I sent it off to him to do the table of contents and, to make it look pretty and to put it in a 6x9 format and yada, yada, yada. And then this morning before this episode, I went out and was doing a channeling and they gave me more information. And I'm like, for reals? I've already sent that book off, but they were talking to me about family of origin because people are always asking me, when I do readings, one of the main questions that I get is, where did I come from? Well, the answer is you came from source. You know, but when I was doing the channeling, they expanded on that, and they said what people are really asking you is what planet was their origin planet. When they came into physical form, what was the first planet that they experienced in physical? That's what they keep asking you, and I'm like, well, why didn't they just say that? But so they wanted me to add another chapter to the book called Family of Origin, because when people are channeling light language, sometimes they'll say, people will say, I'm channeling the Pleiadians or the Icturians or and I never could really grasp or understand that. I know that it's a fractionated, we are speaking of only a fraction of the one light language. And that's why it sounds different with different people, right? And so I was asking the beings, well, why is it? Because they talk about the Tower of Babel, and that we went into the Tower of Babel, we were all speaking one source language. When we came out, we were speaking fractions of the one source language. And I thought, well, how does that work with the Pleiadians and the Arcturians and the beings that I work with? They have a good time with me. They think I'm great entertainment for them. And so they were like, what makes you think that the Pleiadians and the Arcturians aren't from source, right? What makes you think that because I know that human beings were seeded from other planets, right? And so why wouldn't a human being be channeling the Pleiadians or the Arcturians or the Lemurians or the Lyrans? And so I was going, okay, I knew it, but I didn't know it. So thank you for clearing that up. So when people are saying that they are channeling the Lemurians, then that was their planet of origin. That was the first planet that they came into physical form on. So now all that makes sense. So when they say family of origin, people are always talking about families of origin, but when they say that, they are weird. When someone says that to me in the past, I would think they were referring to their family of origin in this particular physical incarnation, right? And it is not true. They're talking about their family of origin from the very first time that they came into physical form.
Yes.
So
I get these downloads. Now, I don't think this is the planet, and I haven't really done a lot of research on it, but is it Sirius? Is it Sirius or whoa?
Oh, listen. Okay. Do you have somebody calling you? So recently, yeah. So we went to Egypt in February, and I didn't know anything about Sirius. And so I experienced some beings there. And when I came back, I did a channeling to get more information. And I was told that these beings were from Sirius B. Now, if you Google Sirius B, according to science, Sirius B is the dog star, right?
So it's not even a planet, right? Or what? Because I get stuff from there, it seems like. I got to get my charger. My phone is.
Okay. So when I did the channeling, the beings were like, oh no, Sirius B, they said there are two Earths. There's the inner Earth and the outer Earth. The inner Earth is Sirius B. And the outer Earth is Gaia. The outer Earth is the shell where the human beings live on. But the inner Earth is the water body, and that's Sirius B. And those beings are water beings. And so the planet that science is calling Sirius B is really Sirius C. So it's interesting that you asked about Sirius. And I'm finding a lot of people who are just coming into their awareness of their connection to Sirius B, which is inner Earth.
Well, that's what's always come to my mind. It's came to my mind before the light language came, but even with the light language here, it feels like that there's some connection there. Like I said, I haven't done the research to know what all that's about, but there feels like there's a connection there. Yeah. Huh.
Because the research would have taken you in a different direction. So, I mean, I do research all the time, but there's certain things like you are a channel, right? You have the ability to go within and get your own answers. And so the next time that you're able to do that, and you're in the perfect place for it, you're in a generator, you're in the perfect generator of energy. And so when you get a chance, maybe go within and ask, show me Sirius B, or show me Sirius. Don't label it B. Show me my connection to Sirius.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because I'm curious about what that connection is. Yeah.
So maybe that was your original, your first entry into physical being. Maybe it was Sirius. And it could be A, could be B, could be C.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of research there. Yeah. Well, I have a massage. Huh?
Oh, I was going to say, what's on your agenda for the rest of the day? You have a massage scheduled?
Yeah, I have a massage scheduled, and I think I might go back to the hot springs just for a second and get the massage and then go get in the hot springs a little bit before I leave out tomorrow. Then I'm heading, like I said, I'm heading to Tennessee, and I'm going there to meet up with a group of people who are they're basically on this physical fitness journey. And so I'm going to meet up with them and kind of exchange energy with them to get me back into I just need a little push with the physical fitness, that's all. And so I'm going to join those people and see if I can't get a head start on the physical fitness and get a routine back in place. Yeah, but for today, it's just the massage, maybe the hot springs, and then sleep.
Have you gone to Three Sisters Springs yet?
No. Is that here?
Yes.
Oh.
So it's off Highway 7. Is it 7 or 70? I think it's 7. Anyway, it's going north from Hot Springs. So if you put it in your Google Maps, Three Sisters Springs, it will take you right there.
Okay. And is this okay? So when I was thinking of the springs, I was thinking I was going to be out in nature, and so I ended up at the bathhouses. So is this one out in nature?
Yeah. So Three Sisters is on the lake. It's on the lake, and it's where 3 different springs come in. They feed in, and they did put a small enclosure there, right? Just for the comfort of human beings. And so there are 3 springs that flow into this one area, and they serve different purposes. They actually have put labels so that you know this one heals this one heals this one heals this. But what I want you to do, though, is when you're in this enclosure, and it's not really an enclosure, it's an overclosure, right? If you look, so right behind you will be the lake, within walking distance, within feet. So there's the lake right behind it. But if you look over if you're looking at the lake, it's to your left. Okay. There you'll see a natural spring running between this enclosure and the lake. There's a natural spring. Well, that natural spring is where all 3 of those springs feed into. And it feeds into the lake. These springs feed into the lake. So if you will follow, and it's just a few feet, if you'll follow this, it's a ditch, right, with the spring running through it. So if you follow this spring to the lake, you will see where it feeds into the lake. I used to take women out there, and I would ask them to since it's summer, it's going to be easy for you to wear your bathing suit, right? And so if you will lie with your head, where the water is coming. Yeah. So the water will flow over you into the lake. Oh my goodness. It is such an amazing ceremony.
I need to do that.
Yeah.
So I did want to put this out there as well. September 22nd through the 24th, we'll be back here. Yeah. And we're going to visit the hot springs. Maybe this Three Sister Springs that you're introducing me to, maybe one of the places that we go. We'll be having a healing ceremony here. Brother Kwame Sunhorse will be with me. He will be doing the sweat lodge. Of course, I will be working with the plants. We're referring to it as the 4 elements retreat. Okay. So we'll do a crystal dig, and we'll do this hot springs, and of course, we'll sit with the plants in the sweat lodge. And so that'll be here in Hot Springs, Arkansas in September for fall equinox. But I really came here. I think Spirit kind of led me here so that I could do those recons to kind of look and see exactly what was going to happen. Because when I went to the bathhouses, I was like, this is not really what I have in mind for that gathering in September. I think what you just gave me is possibly what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go see that today. Thank you.
Yeah, that's an actual state park, and people can camp there. You can rent cabins there on the lake. So, and then they want me to tell you about one other thing there. So you go to the Three Sisters off of Highway 7, right? And it's the turnoff is really close. There's a Walmart there, but you'll see it. I mean, Google will take you right there. But if you continue down Highway 7 instead of turning off into the park, if you continue down Highway 7 for, I don't know, it may be as much as 10 miles. It's not close. At some point, you'll see on the left side another park. It's just a really tiny park. But and I don't know, there is a sign there because it's also like a state park, but people can get in the water there as well. And it is really, every time I go to Hot Springs, I have to go to that park.
Okay, so it's like
I have to go to both parks.
You pass Three Sisters and just go down about 10 miles. It's on the left-hand side.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I will do that today. I'm going to go put my feet on the ground there and get in that water, and then ask if that's where we're supposed to be at. September might be a little cold, but it's hot.
September. Hot. Yeah. It'll be good weather in Hot Springs. And that's the same weekend as my light language immersion retreat.
Oh man.
That's the same weekend that I'm doing another light language event. Yeah. So we'll be in alignment. You'll be doing work there and we'll be doing work here. So
there's no better person to be in alignment with. I promise you that. Patricia, my phone, for some reason, this charger is not quite charging.
Okay. Well, okay. So so it's a good time to close, I guess, right? So I thank you, all of you, for joining me and Lisa LightFeather in this podcast. And I hope that you will join us for others. And we're wishing Sister Lisa a pleasant, safe, and adventurous journey in what she's doing. And we look forward to all of her sharings. And I'm going to share links for you, the YouTube for sure, your Facebook, and any other links that you want to share. If you'll just text them to me, and I'll share those links. Oh, to the event. If you want to advertise that event, send me a link.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah. And so thank you so much. I love you so much. And I know your phone's about to die. So I'm gonna stop the recording.
Okay. Love us.